Remember, I talked about the three. That's the magical number. Third time the charm. Spiritual magic. Third time the charm. So we got Gemini, third sign of the zodiac. Mercury is its planetary ruler. Mercury is the magician of the planets. It's the messenger of the three realms. It brings messages from the soul realm, mama's domain. It brings messages from the spiritual domain of the spiritual realm, father's domain. And then we are the physical vessels who can channel from those realms and manifest and materialize that energy. And remember, the earth element is the healing element. So healing the wounds that has been spiritually passed down through generations. Our ancestral wounding. This is the generation before evolution. There's usually one or two in each family that's playing that Joseph role, the one with the multicolored coat, who is now the one in the family or the two in the family that is still have a connection to the highest vibration of the universe and can now channel that energy, not only from the spiritual realm, and the spiritual realm are your spiritual ancestors. They are the ones who made their transition in this lifetime, the ones that you know that are on the front line, channeling energy to you to fulfill and manifest that energy at the physical level. You are the vessel that will channel from your spiritual ancestors. But not only can you channel from your spiritual ancestors, you can also channel from your soul ancestors, which is your ancient ancestors, mama's domain. So we are the vessels. We bring those components together. We bring all of that. And to ground level, we're on ground zero. We are the vessels to bring that energy and manifest it so that it can balance from the physical to the cosmic level. And all this is coming together and being fulfilled in 9 days. Is when that gateway will open for the fulfillment of the full royal family of energy. We are family oriented. We have to deal as a family. The cosmic family needs to come into balance with the physical family, completing the balance on all levels. That's the key to everything in the universe is balance. And we are the vessels to do that balance.
20 of the richest people in America made their fortunes focusing on a single stock long term.
We are the vessels to do that. So we gonna need everybody, all hands on deck. All hands on deck. You feel me? All hands on deck. Hope that gave a little bit of closure to some of y'all who might be having some of these conversations with yourself. Let's get to it. Let's not, be doubtful of our own powers. Otherwise, we limit ourselves. Whether we know it or not, we limit our own selves by the way that we think, by the way that we move, the things that we do, versus the other things that we should choose to do. So it's just something to think about as you're going throughout this life. Pay close attention, because there's opportunities given to us all to make different decisions. But it's on all of us to make those different decisions. It's on all of us to make those different decisions, man. You feel me?
What do I say? I've been saying it for the past month. I keep saying love is gangster. You have to be gangster to be in this. You have to be gangster to be a spiritual human. You have to be. Because you have to be strong enough to listen to people talking shit about you. You have to be strong enough to people isolating you, leaving you, gaslighting you, all kinds of things. You have to be strong enough to walk away from your job. You have to be strong enough to be brave enough to say, this is the work I'm going to do and I'm going to do it. You have to be strong enough to love, to be in a place of love vibration when you really want to deck someone, okay? You really want to fight. You really have to be in a place of love where you like, spirit team, y'all handle this. I'm not trying to catch a charge. Love is gangster. Spiritual humans are warriors. You have to be a warrior. You know the strength it takes right now to stand in your truth? The strength that it takes to not be distracted? The strength that it takes. You guys are warriors. You guys are powerful. Stop doubting who you are. Stop doubting your strength. Stop doubting yourself. I don't care if you 1 week into this or 10 years into this. You know who you are. You know what I'm talking about. You are a warrior. Most of y'all should have been dead. Most of y'all escaped death. Most of y'all escaped the most ghettoest ghetto, dangerous ghettos, whatever, dangerous situation, third world countries, whatever, unscathed. And people call you lucky. I'm not lucky. I'm here on a mission. I'm a spiritual warrior. There's something in me that got me out of where I was. There was something in me that says I'm greater than this. I'm powerful. I don't have to have friends. I don't have to have family. Nobody has to like me, but continue on this path because there's something in me, your higher self.
Since 1929, Shane Company has been lighting up.
Somebody needed to hear that. Feel me? That's something within you that regardless to what's going on around you, this is something that you gotta tend to. Some things that you gotta do before your time is up. So don't get distracted. Don't let these people throw you off. You know what I'm saying? And just to add to your life, I'm finna give y'all some manifestation. I'm gonna share with y'all a sister that's gonna share a manifestation with y'all. Feel me? How she manifested her money. And I want y'all to listen to this. Listen to the power that we have. How you can call things into existence.
$10,000 in 3 days. So if you didn't see my last video, it was how I manifested my specific person. I would highly recommend checking that video out as I dropped a lot of gems, and plus it's one of the most asked for videos, so I gave it to you guys. But anyway, how I manifested $90,000 in 3 days. So in this 3 days, all I did was work on self-concept. So if you don't want to hear self-concept, then get off the video because that's all I'm going to tell you in this video. So I manifested $90,000 in 3 days. How it happened? So I decided, I already had a pretty good self-concept in money, but I decided to only focus on my self-concept in money because when I only focused on my self-concept for manifesting an SP, it worked really fast. So I was like, maybe it's the same thing for money. I would tell myself, I don't have to work for money. Money comes to me easily. I don't have to lift a finger for money. Large sums of money flow to me every day. You know, I kept telling myself these things. I don't have the specific affirmations I use anymore.
Oh, the last video, that was my sister Myra. Sister Myra. She does spiritual astrology as well.
But I told myself, I was like, listen, I already have $90,000 in my bank account, an extra $90,000 in my bank account. And I wanted it for something specific, but we're not getting into that. I wanted it for something specific, and I told myself, listen, I already have the $90,000. I kept telling myself that. And eventually, like I told myself that for like 3 days straight. And eventually it just felt really natural. But like I said, I didn't have bad self-concept of money in the first place. So it wasn't like manifesting large sums of money was something that I thought was just impossible because I've manifested large sums of money before without even consciously manifesting it. So I kept telling myself this. It eventually felt natural. I was laying down one day and I get a call and it's like, hey Ava, I have a contract that you were signed to in the past, and I want you guys, and I'm gonna send you a check. So I was doing this YouTube short film acting thing, and it's not on YouTube anymore. And they decided to send me a check. So it was a check for my acting that I never received. Well, I received checks, but it was nothing like that. But since they had blew up, they got a lot more money and they wanted to pay the actors and actresses who played a big role in it. So I got a $92,000 check in the mail, literally that day, because he had already sent it to me when he said that he was going to send me a check. So I go downstairs to check the mail as always, you know. There was a check for $92,178 in my mailbox. And I was just telling myself past days that I was going to manifest $90,000. Mind you, when he called me and told me he was sending me a check, he did not tell me how much the check was. He just told me that he was going to send me a check from, you know, doing the acting. So I received a $90,000 check in the mail. And my head was like, wow, I manifested this. But yeah, so that's really all I did. I just kept constantly affirmed, and I visualized probably like twice that I had the $90,000 in my bank account. So yeah, it was literally that simple for me. I have another video coming up next on how I manifested $1 million. I got it the same way through a check, but we're gonna get into that because that one took a little more work.
So there you have it. It's the power of the mind. What you think, the concepts that you believe up until you receive what you asking for, that's going to lead to it coming to you. So it's important, it's very important that you get your mind right, family. That you get your mind right. So let's get some more mental stimulation so you know you are what you are and what's to come is for you.
Whatever reason, and your vibration is high, your energy will start to leave your body without you doing it.
No, you're right. It's just when you're dealing with people directly, you kind of vibrate with that energy. So it's like when I come in and I'm high vibrational, even when I got my mask on and I'm just functioning with people, let's say primarily my coworkers,
Yes.
I have to lower my vibration to fit in with them. You
Okay.
see what I'm saying?
Okay.
And
Now,
it's not like
so now we're getting somewhere. So this
at the mask.
This
I'm
is
not just trying to be an anti-mask person.
Right.
It's just like, how do I keep a high vibration when I'm around people that
stay
not
in
trying
your
to be
own energy. What you keep jumping in they shit for? You know what's happening? Because you really are a teacher by nature. And so what happens when you're getting in their presence, boom, you're empathic, you're reading their energy, and you get all of this information, and you come in the work and you're like, hey man, what's up? And they like, yeah, we gotta get ready. And you thinking, damn, come on.
Yeah.
You slowing me down. Like, what's going on? You're doing, stay in your own energy. They are not your students.
Okay.
But here's the thing I want you to know, because you need to be aware of this. Even if you stayed in your energy and you say, okay, Miss Blue, no problem, cool. I'm just going to focus on me. I'm going to stay in my energy. Do you know if you walk into a place and somebody in that place needs their vibration or their energy lifted, whether it's mentally, physically, or spiritually, for whatever reason, and your vibration is high, your energy will start to leave your body without you doing anything, and it will automatically go to those people who need it. This is how some people say, oh, the people on my job are vampires. No, they're not vampires. That's the price of being a high vibrational being. You are the light. You are the energy. They're not stealing from you. That's what you're here to do. You're here to raise the frequency. So either you want the position or you don't. They're not vampires.
Definitely.
It happens. Just like you sitting next to someone in an office. That person next to you is sad and down and they're dealing with a lot of troubles. Your energy is literally leaving you and going into them. So the question I ask you, do you want to do this work or not? Because they're not a vampire. That's what happens. And guess what you're supposed to have? Enough of that light and energy. And because you are open. See, this is where, stay with me. This is why the non-judgment has to be there. Because see, the moment you bring judgment in, you're using your personal energy, not the universe. And you start to feel drained. You start to get irritated. You start to get agitated. You start to get pissed off. You start to get low. All of these things start to happen because you have interfered with the natural process. A natural process. And that natural process is you have come in, you have sat down, your frequency and consciousness is elevated. That means the more conscious we are, the more intuitive you are. Because intuition and all of these spiritual gifts are connected to our consciousness. You have to expand your awareness and know that what you are doing a great service. You are giving. This is a part of your non-profit energy to the planet. But the moment judgment steps in, the moment you step in and start thinking all of these thoughts, you no longer are tapped in to divine universal energy. You are using your own personal energy, and it will drain the shit and irritate the hell out of you. But that's what we're here for. When everyone comes into Planet Remix, that's a part of our work. That's what I'm doing here. I am lifting your vibration. I literally try to lift you even higher than me. And then what happens is the more that you are in that energy, you begin to train your energy body to stay at that frequency. That's why you will notice yourself, friends you've been around, that you have been able to give a little word here or hang out here. You notice they're starting to maybe not get it where you are, but they're changing. You can tell the difference. They may be doing all that sad stuff, but when they come around you, they purposely try to change their energy. Because their energetic body remembers, wait a minute, I'm in the presence of a high vibrational being. And I get to get this elixir. I get to baste in your aura. I get to get some of this goodness to take me out of this crazy world that I'm in right now. And I'm so grateful. But my conscious mind won't tell me I'm grateful. My conscious mind is telling me to tell you to get the fuck away from me. So, to whom much is given, much is required, and it can be somewhat frustrating. So what you have to do is you have to stop bullshitting, and you have to start getting into this work and doing more. Because what's frustrating you right now is that you need to expand and you need to get some of these thoughts you have out, put it on paper, put it in on a radio show, start finding a study group that you can give, people who are coming to you that want to know. You have to find a way to start expressing yourself, either through some form of creativity or through art. You have to get it out.
Definitely. No, I just started a YouTube channel, so maybe I should just put my energy.
That's right. There you go. Watch how much better you're going to feel. And when you get ready to go to work or you're out and about, it's not going to bother you what other people are doing. Because you're tapping into divine energy. You're tapping into infinite energy. That's what you're tapping into. And I want you to
It just
remember.
gets boring sometimes.
You said what now?
I said it just gets boring sometimes.
Well, if it's getting boring, that only shows me you're not focused. Don't get the big head because you done woke up. Because you do know people done woke up thousands and thousands of years before me and you. Don't get the big head because the universe, the divine, will shut that shit down as quick as it opened it up. So this isn't about feeling you're in some sort of class or position that's better than anybody else. And if you're bored, that means that your ass is focused on the wrong shit. Because how can you be bored? How?
No, okay, for instance, like, I've changed everything about me down to, like, the most finite things. And I'm down to, like, stuff that's diet. Well, mainly because of what's been happening. Like, they put us on total lockdown, so all of the gyms are shut down. Like, then that's where I primarily did most of my exercising. They done screwed up all of the stuff on here, so you can't really do everything that you wanted to do. So a lot of my diet and a lot of my exercise has changed because, you know what I'm saying, of the current situation. So I was putting a lot of my energy into that, and now I can't do that. So it's just, I'm stagnant in certain things where I've changed so much stuff that I don't have the opportunity to really, like,
that's not true. I'm just
reap the benefits from most of the changes I made.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna call BS on that. Because you can work out in your home. You can work out in your room. You can work out on that same sidewalk you walk in with no mask on. That ain't stopping nothing. And then you have to ask yourself, who are you doing it for? Are you doing it for you? Or are you doing it for the people?
No, true.
That's one of my sister's favorite sayings. Because if you're doing it for the people, we know where that, we already know that ending to the movie. But if you're doing it...
But, like, let me give you some background.
Okay.
Like, I've never been one to be physical, so this was my first time really taking an approach to exercise.
Well,
so
good.
it was through the gym, And now it's like, man, having that motivation to go outside and do it on my own is something that I have to retool my thinking, because it took for me to retool my thinking just...
No, it don't work. It don't work like that. So I would say to you, if you're bored, that is an indication that you're... That's an indication of so many things I can't even tell you. But that's an indication of being in denial if you're bored, because you have so many things that you can be working on at this particular time. So many things. Yep. Don't let that stop you. Don't let that hold you back. And please, let me go on the record and say to you, do not allow your ego to lead you. That's, you know how they got the Rough Riders? That's a rough road. That's a DMX path. And I don't know if you want to take that path, because many people ain't built for that shit. That's a rough path.
Yes.
Yeah. 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 So.
No rough path for me.
There you go. Well, I wish you all the success in the world. Please come back and let us know how it's going. And I thank you for calling in. But just remember that when you are walking in the room, that's what your energy is designed to do. Some would say, and some of our ancients would say, if you can't raise that frequency in the room, they're not the ones messed up, but you are, because you carry the light.
Remember that, y'all. Remember that. That's no different than the saying we used to hear. If the student's not learning, you can't blame the students. It's something wrong with the teacher, right? You're not coming across. So for a lot of us that may feel like, we're not coming across, people not getting what we're trying to push, that's something to think about. Make sure you're doing everything in your power You feel me?
With Fundrise, the same kind of real estate investment
Everything
that
in your
have powered
power
the world's
to
strongest
get yourself
portfolios for
prepared.
decades.
So I tell you that all that you behold, though it appears without, it is within. This world of mortality is but a shadow. All things exist in the human imagination. And everything you see as an objective reality was produced by imagining. Had to imagine everything concerning the machine that took you to the moon. Everything in the world first has to be imagined and then executed. All right, the intelligence to do it will come, but you take the blueprint first and conceive it and dwell in it as though it were true. And no power on earth can stop it from becoming so. But tonight, if you're here for the first time and you want something practical, you apply what I've chosen. First, have an objective. You must have an objective. You can't say, well, I don't know what I want. Well, all right. Come back the next time. Ask yourself, what would I like of life? Don't be ashamed to name it, what would I like of life? Well then, try to get some objective. Now, prayer, as far as I'm concerned, is nothing more than the subjective appropriation of the objective hope. That is the way to success. I appropriate it subjectively. How do I appropriate a state subjectively? Well, suppose now, this very moment, I wanted a ball, an ordinary baseball. But there isn't a baseball in the room, all right? But I want one. I would actually assume that I am holding a baseball in my hand until I can feel it. You think you can't feel it? Well, now try it. Try to feel what it would be like if you held a baseball. Now, to prove that you have held it, see what it feels like, the difference now, a tennis ball. See any difference? All right, a golf ball. See any difference? A piece of silk. You feel any difference? If you can distinguish between these many objects, though they are subjective, then there must exist somewhere. If you can actually separate them in your mind's eye and distinguish between these objects, I can begin to feel, begin to sense, begin to smell a rose. Well, a rose doesn't smell or doesn't actually have the odor of another flower. I can detect the rose. Now a lily, an Easter lily. I can detect that. But what does it do? Well, I'm going to get them. Someone will think of Neville and send him a flower. And it's going to be the flower that I'm going to actually feel and touch and smell. It works that way. Money has an odor. It's unlike any odor in the world. It's more fragrant to the miser than the most marvelous perfume in the world. He can tell it. You put a money bag to his face, and it's like putting roses to mine. He loves it. He can smell money. He can feel it. Money has a distinct feel about it. Put a $20 bill in your hand and ask you to feel it, and then put another piece of paper in your hand, and you can tell the difference. There's a difference. It is an odor to it. All this is part of the inner man that all things are possible to it. Try it. Before you condemn it, try it. And if you have the evidence to support my claim, well, then it doesn't matter what the world will tell you. If he laughs at you, so what? So they laughed at everyone who had an idea that seemed a little bit off-center. Always laughed at it. They laughed at the idea of going to the moon. Well, now it's an accomplished fact. There are still those who won't believe it happened, you know, because they don't want to believe that it ever happened. And those who said you couldn't go down and actually live underwater. Well, we have a submarine. There are still those who won't believe it. You can present them with all the facts in the world, and they won't believe it. Doesn't really matter what the whole vast world thinks. Go about your father's business, which is yourself, and then live a full and wonderful life in this world of season. So tonight, take a go. Make it a lovely go. Either for yourself or for another. But any time that you exercise your imagination lovingly on behalf of another, you're mediating God to that other. So, bring a friend before your mind's eye. Represent him to yourself as the man or the woman that you would like them to be. And don't tell them, ask for no praise, just assume that they're talking to you and telling you the most marvelous news about themselves. And you congratulate them on that good news. And go your own way. Believe in the reality of that imaginal act. It may happen tomorrow. It may happen the day after, or a week later, or a month later. It has its own appointed hour, and it is ripening, and it's going to flower. So don't be concerned. Leave it alone. And it will come to pass. So this is what I mean by feeling is the secret. I catch the mood, the feeling that will be mine if I were what I want to be. I don't have to touch something, I can if I want to, but it's the mood I'm speaking of. What would the feeling be like if she were well? If she were this? And then you catch it, just as though it is true. You always go to the end, and the end is where you begin. We're always imagining ahead of our evidence. So go to the end, and feel the end. And then, well, in that end, even though reason denies it, and your senses deny it, you turn your back upon the doubts. That is your senses, and what reason dictates. That's the hell, or the devil, or Satan in the world. That's the doubt. So you turn your back upon it. And then you walk as though things were as you want them to be. And living in that assumption, it slowly hardens into fact. Even though at the moment of the assumption it was denied by reason, an assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. So you learn to assume and learn to persist in the assumption, and it will come to pass.
It's happening.